Okay, once again, we're talking about side hustles. I just get so jacked up about this. I love talking about entrepreneurship. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about why you need to start a side hustle today, like right away. Like start a side hustle right after watching this video. There's so many great reasons to start a side hustle. Let's dive into it right now. All right, number one, starting a side hustle is exciting. I mean, you can tell by the tone of my voice, I just get so excited about entrepreneurship. But seriously, starting a side hustle is one of the most exhilarating, fun things you can do. It's uncomfortable. It requires you to be bold. It requires courage. There's so many things that are just a little bit nervy about it, but it's an exciting kind of nervy. So starting a side hustle is just, it's really exciting. It's really fun. It can create just a really fun area of your life that you have never really experienced. If you've never started a side hustle, then it's hard to know how exciting it can actually be. So starting a side hustle is exciting. So that's the first reason to go ahead and stop talking about a side hustle and start. All right, number two, it feeds your creativity. And I'm not talking about just like painting or artsy things or whatever it is. I'm talking about like critical thinking creativity, figuring out a way to build a business on almost no money, figuring out a way to do something better than your competitors are doing it. There's so many different ways you can be creative with entrepreneurship, figuring out a different way to market your business that nobody's ever done, or a fun way to market your business, or whatever it is. There's so many ways to be creative when you start a side hustle that you wouldn't otherwise have a reason to be creative for when you're not running a side hustle. So being creative is just a phenomenal thing when it comes to starting a side hustle, and another great reason to start one today. Okay, number three, starting a side hustle takes time. If you're gonna start something that takes time, then the best day to start is today, right? I mean, the best day to start is like 10 years ago, but we can't go there. So you might as well start today. A year from now, you're gonna be looking back on a side hustle if you stuck with it. You know, if you started it today and pursued it for the next year, a year from now, you're gonna be looking back on it and going, wow, I'm really glad that I stuck with that. I think we can all probably relate to the idea, especially if you're the kind of person that wants to start a side hustle. We can all relate to the idea that, you know, there are side hustles that we could have started a long time ago that had we just stuck with them, we'd be so much further along, or maybe even incredibly successful at this point in time. So don't let that occur over and over again in your life. Start a side hustle, stick with it, because it takes time. And a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're gonna be really glad that you took that first step. Number four, the income potential is huge. I don't care what kind of side hustle you're starting. The income potential is really what you make it, right? You could go start an online e-commerce store, or you could start a YouTube channel, or you could start a blog, or you could start mowing lawns, or you could start a photography business, or whatever it is. Even starting small, the income potential can be so massive. I know so many people that started a side hustle as just sort of a hobby little thing that maybe they could make a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s every single month, and it turned into a 6-figure business, or maybe even a 7-figure business. There are so many stories out there of people that experience that kind of growth with their side hustle. So the income potential is just massive with side hustles. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody discourage you. The income potential is really, really big, and a great reason to start a side hustle today. All right, number five, there's never been a better time to start a side hustle. One, there's so many different options these days for side hustles, from online to in-person to service-based to product-based to whatever it is. There's so many different options for starting a side hustle. You could start something that nobody's ever even started before. You could go start an Amazon, a Fulfilled by Amazon store. You could start a really successful blog. You can just do what I'm doing here and start a YouTube channel. There's so many different ways to make money through a side hustle. And there's so many cheap ways to start a side hustle, really inexpensive or free ways that have almost no downside, right? If you start a YouTube channel, what's the downside? Just some time spent in front of a camera, right? Maybe you have to spend a few $100s on a camera, or you just use your smartphone. The downside is so small to that. You don't have to go spend, $100,000 to start a business. You can start a business for $150, right? So there's never been a better time to start a side hustle. So go out and start one today. These are the 5 main reasons, the 5 most exciting reasons why you need to start a side hustle. I hope you liked this video. If you want more inspiration when it comes to personal finance, or running your own business, or starting a side hustle, or any of those things, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you've watched a couple of these videos before and you like it, and we'll see you in the next video.